Hello and welcome. I'm Shivani Sharma. On this exclusive from Times Now, you're watching us from the flight deck of India's first indigenous aircraft carrier, Vikrant. Vikrant, that had scripted in the golden India's history its name for being the most complex and the largest warship that has been built in India. Designed by the Naval Design Bureau and built by the Cochin Shipyard Limited indigenously, is a powerful ship with 14 decks, and the length of this particular ship is 262 meters while the height is 59 meters, and if we talk about the width, it's 62 meters. It is equivalent to 2 football grounds, and if you have to walk on this ship, you need to walk 8 kilometers. It is the most complex, most powerful, and making India Atmanirbhar. On this special coverage, we'll show you how this makes the Indian aircraft carrier one of the most powerful ships in the world.
A giant leap for India's ambitions to become a blue water navy. The induction of aircraft carrier Vikrant massively scaling up India's capabilities to project itself far beyond its maritime borders. The indigenously designed and indigenously built Vikrant is the latest warship in Indian naval arsenal. Weighing about 45,000 tons and carrying over 30 fighter aircraft, Vikrant can travel as far as Brazil without refueling or restocking. And the Indian sailor knows the march has just begun.
INS विक्रांत के भारतीय नौसेना में शामिल हो जाने के से भारतीय महासागर और इंडो पैसिफिक रीजन में शांति, सुरक्षा और स्थिरता को बढ़ावा मिलेगा। विक्रांत की विशेष क्षमताएं जैसे गतिशीलता, दूर तक पहुंच, वॉर फाइटिंग कैपेबिलिटी और इंटीग्रल एयर पावर भारतीय नौसेना के लिए एक फोर्स मल्टीप्लायर साबित होगी। यह हमारे देश के लिए अत्यंत गौरव की बात है कि INS विक्रांत की कमीशनिंग आज़ादी का अमृत महोत्सव और स्वर्णिम विजय वर्ष में हो रही है।
With the Vikrant, India has gate crashed into an exclusive club of nations capable of designing and building their own aircraft carriers.
IAC Vikrant has a long runway of 262 meters, and what you see behind me is the sky jump, the point from where the aircrafts actually take off from this runway. And it takes only few seconds for these aircrafts to take off from this particular runway point, which is the most powerful feature of the indigenous aircraft carrier Vikrant, that will soon be INS Vikrant. And these aircrafts will be participating in one of the most complex missions with the Indian Navy.
The flight deck atop the Vikrant is 12,500 square meters. That's roughly the size of 2 football fields or 10 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Looking at the Vikrant from sideways, there are 15 decks from keel to the bridge, 10 decks below the flight deck and 5 decks on the superstructure. All the above add up to a height of 59 meters.
If we talk about the size of this majestic indigenous aircraft carrier, it has a displacement of 45,000 tons, speed 28 knots, and the cruise ship is 18 knots, and it has 2,300 compartments that are designed in a way that can accommodate 1,700 naval officers and sailors. And for the first time in the history of India's Navy, this indigenous aircraft carrier can accommodate women officers and sailors too. This majestic indigenous aircraft carrier has made India proud, and the nation is being talked about because of this particular indigenous aircraft carrier, Vikrant.
The flight deck has one landing runway of 191 meters and two takeoff runways. Short takeoff runway is 145 meters and the long takeoff runway is 203 meters. The carrier allows a novel aircraft operation mode known as tow bar. It translates into a short takeoff from the ski jump. The arrested landing involves a set of arrestor wires that help the jets in halting on board.
Vikrant had started its first sea trials in August 2021. Until 10th of July 2022, it successfully completed 4 sea trials, and on 28th of July, it was handed over to the Indian Navy by Cochin Shipyard Limited, where it was being built since 2009. And if we talk about the hydraulic lifts, Vikrant has 2 big hydraulic lifts that are used to carry the aircrafts. Fixed and rotary wing aircrafts are moved on the flight deck with the help of these hydraulic lifts, so that in the situation of war, these aircrafts are moved on the flight deck within a matter of few seconds, and then they can take off swiftly for any kind of operations.
The superstructure on the starboard side houses the flight control, or the FLYCO. This is essentially the operational center controlling all air operations.
Now we are at the FLYCO, or the Flight Operations Deck of IAC Vikrant, and to talk more about the importance and significance of this particular place, I have with me Lieutenant Commander Ajay Singh, who is going to tell us how this is the most important part of any aircraft carrier. Sir, what is the significance of this place?
See, as rightly said, this position is known as flight control position, or FLYCO. So all the control of flying activities which are happening are controlled from this position, whether we are sailing as a single ship or as a carrier battle group. All the flight safety of the aircraft are controlled from here. The movement of personnel, the movement of the various equipments on the flight deck is controlled from here. As you can see, we are at certain height. So we have a good visibility of at the entire flight deck. So we can control the movement from here.
So how powerful has the IAC made our Navy? And if we talk about this particular place, which we are calling the nucleus of this aircraft, how it is different and technically enhanced as we compare to the other navies of the world?
Any aircraft carrier is an offensive platform which can deploy multifarious aircrafts depending on the type and the number it can carry. So definitely we are in the Vikrant will be certainly enhance the capabilities of the Indian Navy and the sea control, and it will also increase the surveillance level and the maritime domain awareness.
So this is the center point or the powerhouse that controls any kind of flight movements, and as we say that IAC is one of the most powerful warships aircraft carriers of the world, and this area has its own importance.
From afar, what may seem like a mass of grey metal is a testimony to India's growing prowess. Built at the Cochin Shipyard, Vikrant saw the coming together of several PSUs and private entities in building India's first indigenous aircraft carrier.
India now stands proudly in those 5 or 6 countries of the world that have their own capabilities of an indigenous aircraft carrier. And I have with me Cochin Shipyard Limited CMD, Mr. Madhu S. Nair, the company which has brought this marvel into reality. Sir, a very warm welcome on Times Now, and congratulations for this engineering marvel. Why do we call this IAC Vikrant an engineering monument of India?
See, this is because it's not just about Cochin Shipyard alone. This is about the country. Because Cochin Shipyard as a shipbuilder has built this vessel. We have been at the center stage. But let me be very candid. Cochin Shipyard alone will not be able to do this. This calls for the deep knowledge within various formations of the Indian Navy, right from the engineering groups to the operations group. It calls for the significant knowledge we have in the Indian industry at large and the deep-rooted knowledge of the last 50 years in Cochin Shipyard about the shipbuilding knowledge. When we get all this together and have the focus and the will and the determination to create such projects, that is when you see a project like INS Vikrant. And that's why I say there's a marvel for the country. There's a demonstrator of India's self-belief, Atmanirbharata, and the engineering prowess of the country.
Sir, when we talk about the construction, we know that 76% of the content has been Indian. But not only that, a lot of MSMEs have been given a chance. A lot of workers from India have been given a chance. What was the number of those MSMEs? And if today we need to build such an aircraft, how much time will it take? Because it took 13 long years.
Yeah. About 550 entities, small, big, have been involved here. MSMEs, slightly more than 100 MSMEs have been involved, service providers and suppliers. Large PSUs and large Indian companies like SAIL, HAL, BHEL, Bharat Electronics, Larsen & Toubro, Tata Power, Kirloskar, they all been involved here. Now, if you have to do something again, we started this when we did not have the detailed knowledge about an aircraft carrier, but we had significant shipbuilding knowledge and warship building experience. But now that we have an aircraft carrier, we understand the difficulties, we understand the pluses, minuses, and where to concentrate. I would stick my neck out and say 7 to 8 years if we are deriving largely from a similar platform.
It's time for a short break on Times Now on this exclusive coverage of IAC Vikrant. After the break, we'll show you how Vikrant will empower India's Navy.
The carrier is named after her illustrious predecessor, which played a vital role in the 1971 war. The reincarnation of Vikrant promises to shift India's maritime horizons far beyond the Indian Ocean.
As India is all set to script history with the commissioning of its first indigenous aircraft carrier, I have with me the commanding officer of IAC Vikrant, Commodore Vidyadhar Harke, to talk more about it. Sir, a very warm welcome on Times Now and a big congratulations to you. How significant you think is the commissioning of the IAC?
IAC is indigenous, and as you can see that with this we bring to fore capability to construct and design a ship of this complexity. Being indigenous, 76%, as you would be aware, the steel comes from India. Majority of systems are Indian, so sustaining this ship would be much better for us. Also, the design being indigenous, it gives us the flexibility to undertake operations at extended ranges and multiple missions which we'll be able to undertake.
Sir, a very important aspect is getting ready for the challenges. And when we talk about the operational capabilities, we have the situation where China is quite aggressive in the seas. So how do you think we are enhancing in our might as we get the IAC Vikrant?
I would go back to history. Our planners, after independence, envisaged a navy with 4 carriers. However, that didn't materialize for various reasons. We work on a concept of capability rather than an adversary. The intent is to have capability adequate to protect our area of interest and our national interest. Vikrant would enhance this capability while working and operating in tandem with the existing carrier Vikramaditya.
To deal with medical emergencies, Vikrant has a hospital with 16 beds, 2 operation theatres and a CT scan machine.
On IAC Vikrant, we also see a super speciality hospital, and to tell more about it, we have Surgeon Commander YB Surse. Sir, what is so significant about this hospital on Vikrant?
This in itself is a 16-bedded specialty hospital where we have 16 beds in various wards, including a female ward. There are 2 operation theatres, radiology facilities, which includes a CT scanner. For the first time in India, we have a CT scan machine installed on board a ship. Then X-rays are there, X-ray machines are there, USG machines are there, a full-fledged laboratory is there, physiotherapy facilities are there. Then all the medical gases which are supplied are through a piped medical gases from a manifold room. For the first time, even we, as per the plans, we will be likely to get females also on board ships. So for that also we are have a female ward also on board ship.
Also on the superstructure is the ship's control center, equipped with multifunction displays and sensors. It monitors the propulsion system, power generation and machinery.
Now we are at the ship's control center, which happens to be the heart of the aircraft carrier. To talk more about it, I have with me Lieutenant Dev Pratap Singh, who's going to tell us how significant this place is. Sir, what is the importance and how does this work?
Hello ma'am. Right now we are at a compartment named as Ship's Control Center, or we call it as SCC. This we can call it as heart of ship because all the machinery all across the ships can be controlled and monitored from this place. Around you can see multiple consoles which are IPMS console made by indigenous company called BHEL. From these controls we have connected all the machinery, integrated machinery, and we can control, monitor and observe the parameter of the machineries. At this particular chair in this compartment during sailing we have an engineer officer of the watch, under which there is a team of watchkeepers who sit and monitors and operate all the machinery all across the ship.
Thank you so much for talking to us. So while we all are proud of India's first aircraft carrier, there's a whole team behind the show who monitors, keeps the vigil and enhances the power of the aircraft carrier.
The warship is propelled by 4 gas turbines. Besides that, it has 8 power generators, producing 24 megawatts of power to meet the ship's requirements.
So we are at the switchboard room of Vikrant, where we see that how the power that is generated is distributed on all the decks and equally distributed. So to talk more about it, I have with me Mr. Deepak, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Lieutenant Deepak, one of the electrical officer on board ship, ma'am. Ma'am, the place we are standing right now is the main switchboard. We have 3 more switchboards like this. So power supply which is generated by the diesel alternate, that is total 24 megawatt, which is enough to light a small town. So that generator power comes to the switchboard. Here we have the distribution section, ma'am. We have breakers also. So these breakers, through these breakers, this power is distributed to the entire ship. There are so many consumers. You take example of lighting, ventilations, even the weapons and sensors. So all these consumers get the power supply from here, ma'am. So if we speak about the cable, ma'am, the total length is approximately 3,000 kilometer. If we lay all the cables in a straight line, so it can cover the distance from Kochi to Delhi. So you can see the complexity. And we have a watch system here. We have the operators which continuously sit here and man the switchboard 24 into 7 hours, so that there is no abnormality in the ship.
To feed a large crew comprising 1,400 sailors and 160 officers is by no means an easy task. But on board INS Vikrant, things have been simplified. There are 3 galleys and the state-of-the-art kitchen equipped with automated appliances that can churn out 400 kilograms of rice and dal. There is this chapati maker. It cuts and presses the dough into perfect circles, passing it through conveyor belt, running over a tawa, delivering hot, fresh rotis. The team of chefs on board Vikrant are training in cooking that reflects India's diversity and satisfies every taste and palate.
We are right now at the galley of INS Vikrant. That happens to be one of the kitchens out here, and we have 3 such galleys on board. And you see the equipment out here. It has all automated equipment that is used for cooking meals for around 4,500 to 6,000 people on board per day. It works for around 20 hours each day. To talk more about this, I have with me Petty Chief Master Officer Mr. मनोज कुमार यादव. सर, यहाँ पर आप किस तरह से खाना बनाते हैं और कितनी क्षमता में यहाँ पर कुकिंग की जाती है?
मैम, थैंक यू वेरी मच. मैम, INS विक्रांत में आपका मैं स्वागत करता हूँ. मैम, ये हमारी जो चपाती मशीन है, ये 6,000 रोटी बनाने में सक्षम है. यहाँ पे लगभग 1500 से 1600 नौसैनिकों का तीनों समय का भोजन तैयार किया जाता है. मैम, जो इस प्रकार के हमारे पास बहुत से इधर अत्याधुनिक और स्वदेशी इक्विपमेंट्स हैं, उनमें से राइस बॉयलर है, दाल बना सकते हैं इनमें. ऐसे ही हमारे पास ब्रेड, केक, पाव, अन्य बेकरी व्यंजन बनाने के लिए भी हमारे पास कौमी स्टीमर हैं जो अत्याधुनिक हैं. इडली भी उसी में बना सकते हैं. तो ऐसे हमारे पास अनेक इक्विपमेंट्स हैं जो हम यूज़ करते हैं.
तो आप ध्यान रखते हैं, अलग अलग जगह से लोग यहाँ पर आते हैं, जो कोई साउथ इंडियन होता है, कोई पंजाबी होता है, उन सब के लिए खाने का आप ध्यान रखते हैं?
जी मैम, हमारे शेफ़ जो हैं वो इसी प्रकार की ट्रेनिंग मिलती है कि अलग अलग स्टेट के हमारे पास जवान आते हैं, बट यहाँ पे आके फौजी बन जाते हैं. तो फिर भी हम उनका अलग अलग जो स्टेट से आते हैं उसके हिसाब से उनका मेनू, साउथ इंडियन डिश जैसे गुजराती हैं, मराठी हैं, तो इस टाइप का हम पूरे वीक में उनका एक बैलेंस मेनू बनाते हैं. और वो सीजनिंग जैसे सीजन के हिसाब से भी हम मेनू बनाते हैं, तो उस हिसाब से हम न्यूट्रिशन वगैरह उनको बराबर देख करके वो डिश रेडी करते हैं.
So this is the galley which is fully automated and it can cook meals for around 1,700 sailors each day, and they also make sure that they serve food of every state, and they make sure that the food is full of nutrition and taste.
The amount of steel used in the making of Vikrant is equivalent to building 4 Eiffel Towers. And the cabling in the entire ship at almost 3,000 kilometers, which, if laid out, can cover the distance from Kochi to Delhi. This is the belly of the Vikrant, where the air firepower resides.
We are right now at the hangar of IAC Vikrant. This is the place where the aircrafts, the fighter jets, are parked. And if we talk about the capacity, the IAC Vikrant can have 30 aircrafts at a time of different types and categories as per required in different kind of operations. What you see behind me is the MiG-29 MKI and Kamov helicopter that have been parked here when the ship is just ready to be commissioned on 2nd of September. And these are the aircrafts that are fully loaded with weapons and missile systems. They are ready for any kind of complex operation, and they also showcase the operational strength of India's Navy. So this is the hangar that can carry 30 different kind of aircrafts, and due to this capacity, the IAC Vikrant stands out and is one of the best IACs in the world. We'll keep getting you such exclusive stories. It's time to sign off now. With my VJ Mukesh Kumar, this is Shivani Sharma for Times Now from Kochi, on board IAC Vikrant.